Episode 26, Bryan Callen.
Little marked up in the face. Was doing a little jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu, yeah. So I apologize if my nose, my wife was like, what are you doing? And I was like, She goes, you getting hit? I go, no, I was just rolling. She goes, rolling? She goes, she calls it play. I'm like, I got to go work out. She goes, no, you have to go play with all these guys in their 40s.
It ain't playing. It's getting your ass kicked for an hour on the mat.
It's getting the shit kicked out of me.
Oh, my God. I haven't trained in a while. I've had so many injuries, shoulder injuries, back injuries. I'm scared to go back in there.
That's why I warm up like a motherfucker, and they make fun of me.
Yeah.
They make fun of me. I'm pedantic about it. I'm literally like doing shoulder shit, but I'm ancient. So.
What does that mean, pedantic?
Pedantic means I'm by the book. I'm like,
okay.
you know, when somebody
Methodical.
says, so this is how we're going to do this. That would be pedantic.
Are you at the point where you can control how they're coming at you, no matter how aggressive they are or young? And
Well, first of all, I'm rolling with guys who are older and who are better, and they don't really care. If you're rolling with somebody who's like, I rolled with one guy who was like at my level, and then it gets explosive and crazy, right? Because nobody wants to lose. But I don't care. And the good thing is you start getting better when you just are working on, like when you go and you work on jiu-jitsu or anything, I think the way you get better is by working on one thing at a time. So I'll just work like half guard on my back. I do everything on my back. Like, how do I get out from under somebody? Start there, and then you work on one particular thing. You know, they looked at the difference between regional swimmers and Olympic swimmers. It wasn't time in the pool, and it wasn't even like, you know, how hard they practiced, and it wasn't even physical differences. It was nothing. It was that the Olympic swimmers had coaches that said, hey, they would break it down into minutia. They'd be like, when you swimming, your elbow is not here. It's got to be here. So when that guy comes to practice, all they're thinking about is doing that for that practice. So they're breaking it down there because everybody else, regional swimmers, just going, I don't know why I'm not getting better. The Olympic guys, Gordon Ryan talks about this with jiu-jitsu. He'll watch tape, and it's those little micro adjustments that make all the difference.
I believe it.
And I think everything in life is that way.
So how long you been training jiu-jitsu?
I mean, off and on, you know, way more off than on.
But how long? How long?
I don't know, like altogether, I'm a blue belt, and not even that anymore. So, you know, I had spurts when I was younger. Now I'm back in it. So, you know, now since I've been in Austin.
Are you addicted? Do you go like every day? Like those
No, I'm
guys
not
do?
addicted. I do a whole variety of stuff. You know, I'm not addicted. It's over.
You're all over the map.
I like watching myself get better at something that's really hard, and I can say that. Like today, I was able to kind of like, you know, you just somebody isolates your arm, and you get better at like not doing that. That's a win for me.
Yeah.
You get better at being able to like protect yourself in that situation,
Right.
and maybe get a position.
Not panic.
Yeah, all that shit.
You probably don't panic anymore, though.
No, I mean, no, I do. That's actually today I panicked because I was getting smothered by Shane Steiner, who's very nice to me. But Shane Steiner is a very good black belt and way stronger than me.
Yeah.
And I mean way stronger. He's built like a fucking fire hydrant with ears. and he just fucking... And I talk a big game. Today, in fact, you'll appreciate this because you were a Navy SEAL. I was on top. He lets me get position. And I was on top of him, squeezing him. And in his ear, I was going, dude, the ambulance is right there. They got coffee and donuts. You're cold. You're tired. Give up. Give up. Go ring the bell. And he was laughing so hard. And then he beat the shit out of me.
Speaking of Shane Steiner, we had Tyler Vanderkolk in here on the last podcast.
Love him.
Was it the last one?
Tyler rolled today. Shane
did
was
he?
like, Tyler. And Tyler was like, okay, that's not going to go well.
How do you do?
Not well. Nobody does well against Shane Steiner.
Well, he was telling us a story where Shane came in on his helicopter out back of archery country. I wanted to...
That's where we land.
Yeah.
You want to hear a crazy story?
Yes, tell the story.
So, oh yeah, I told you this, right? So,
Yeah.
So Shane will pick me up at the field outside my house until my HOA a couple of days ago said it's too fucking noisy.
Oh no.
So now I can't go anywhere. Now I got to drive. I have to fucking drive, dude. I can't fly in the helicopter, which is a privilege I've earned. I buzzed Joe Rogan's house. You got me? And now I can't do that shit anymore. I have to meet him at Steiner Steakhouse. I don't want to talk about it. The point is that we were coming in, and he had to take the big helicopter. He had to take the big one. He's got 3. And he had to take the big boy that seats 6 people. Big propellers. You know this stuff from your military days.
They're awful.
And they're awful. And I get in that bad boy, and I'm all sulky because I like my little bubble. I like being able to see everything. I like a 360 panorama. And I get in that fucking thing, and he chops it up, and we land at archery country, and we just come down, boom, and all of a sudden we see all these cops, and then we see some plainclothes cops, and they're gesturing and making all this noise, and they're talking to Tyler. Tyler's like, oh, what the fuck? And then we get out. I'm like, oh, dude, you took this helicopter's too big to land here. Obviously, you're gonna get in trouble. There's 1,000 things they've been waiting for us. Guy comes up and I see it says homicide on his shirt. I haven't told the story yet. It says homicide. I'm like, what the fuck? And he goes, there's a crime scene. There was a murder right there, and he points to where your tech is, like right there. Like it was a dispute between a homeless couple. Sad story, but. And somebody was knifed and killed. And they were measuring the tire mark. The tire marks, they were out there with a ruler. They hadn't even taken pictures. They were measuring, and we come down, get, and blew all the evidence away. Literally, the guy goes, you blew all the evidence away. Like, you blew all, that's the morning I'm having. You came down with that helicopter. We were gesturing, we didn't see him. And with your giant propellers, you erased. Somebody got away with murder because of your fucking chopper. Because you don't like to drive. So a murderer is still out there.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they were so mad.
Could you imagine the murderer heard about that story? He had to hear about that.
The homicide guy was so cool, though. He was just like, this is the morning I'm having. And the other guy was like, and the other guy recognized me. He goes, don't turn this into a skit. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I was going to say, what did you say? Because Tyler said at the end you told him you were in like CSI in 03 or some shit.
Probably.
In Miami CSI.
Anything, if it's a smart ass comment, I'm going to say it.
Yeah, he goes.
I probably said something like, you guys want me to take a look? Because I played one on TV.
Yeah, that's what Tyler said.
Yeah.
You told him you were in Miami CSI in 03.
Yeah.
And he said nobody fucking said anything. Like it was just crickets.
Well, because the guy was like, he knew who I was. I was like, listen, I played a cop on TV. If you want me to take a look and comb over this evidence and kind of piece things back together.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm a student of human nature. Yeah, those guys are dealing with like real shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you hear about this fucking heist at the Louvre?
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, those are the people that make me feel like a big pussy. Like,
that's cool,
if you
right?
got the balls to rob the Louvre, it's worth the jail time.
Yeah.
Worth it.
The interesting story about this is last year, or at the beginning of the year, they appointed their first female president of security operations at the Louvre, the first female ever to run operations at the Louvre. And
yeah, well, and they were like, oh, a chick, let's rob this place.
It's a cool story, actually. I was looking. So they rented a truck with one of those baskets that you can raise up. And they raised it up to the second story. I guess they were able to get in through a window or something.
Dude, 8 of France's crown jewels worth an estimate of $102 million.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They cleaned out. They went in there with torches and quickie saws, and they cut through the glass that was holding these devices.
Who's going to buy those?
That's what they used to get up there, that fucking crane. Yeah.
Oh, so they looked like they were working.
Yeah, they were dressed up in so maintenance.
Smart.
Yeah.
But like, hey, there might be other places to rob. Like somebody's, like a rich house, not a national treasure.
They caught 2 of the guys.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Like the entire, France's entire police force is going to be after you. Don't get an entire country after you. They're going to find you. Like there might be better targets, but it's such a ballsy move. I got to meet these guys.
The crazy thing is, if you scroll up, I think it says how they got away.
By the way, they had prior convictions. That's not a first-time job.
Some of these guys got away riding scooters through town. That's the crazy thing.
Well, it's unsuspecting. Now, do you know about the Pink Panthers?
No, what's that?
It's a bunch of Serbian guys and girls who have gotten away with hundreds of millions of dollars of jewels. They're incredibly organized. They caught one. They broke him out of jail. They're complete badasses. And they all grew up in war-torn Serbia, and they're incredibly, incredibly organized. And it's men and women, and they're in Monaco. They rob jewelry stores, get away on speedboats. It's James Bond shit.
No shit.
You need James Bond to catch these guys.
They've never caught any of them?
No. Leonardo DiCaprio was doing a movie about them. It's called The Pink Panthers.
Why
And
are they
people have
called
studied
that?
how they do it and how organized they are and how they move and they smash and the way they do it. They're disciplined and
Really?
gutsy as
That's
fuck.
interesting.
They thought they were a special
See if you can
forces
pull that
team.
up. I want to see this.
And then it turns out, you can see video of it online.
Let's see if we can find one of those
They're
videos.
insanely organized. But you're talking about they do big heists.
Yeah.
But hey, the Louvre, I bet you it's them.
Have you ever heard about the guy? I can't remember his name. He was the guy that built the set for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Do you remember that badass like treehouse set that they had built out in the woods?
In what? The Robin Hood?
Remember the Robin Hood, the Kevin Costner Robin Hood movie, Prince of Thieves?
He's my favorite. No, I
He
don't.
was
I
the
don't remember
greatest.
that movie though.
You don't remember that movie?
No.
All right. Well, it was awesome. Anyways, the guy that built the
2007
treehouse set, he built like a legit like with the drawbridges going across, like this badass scene. This dude was a huge party animal, and he got bored with life. Like the tree houses that he built for this thing, he spent his money from the movie and built himself his own thing on an island. And then this dude would just do a bunch of like steroids and drugs and party all the time. Well, they got bored and they started robbing banks, and he was really good at it too. And he fucking robbed like 20 or 30 banks.
Damn.
And got away with it scot clean. And the interesting thing about this guy is he didn't do it for the money. He did it
it's
for the
juice.
adrenaline rush.
It's the juice.
And
That's
some
what
of
all
the,
criminals
eventually they
do.
caught him. But one of the things that was interesting is they went to go talk to like the people at the cafes and stuff where he would go eat. And they were like, dude, this guy was the nicest guy in the world. He would leave like a $10,000 tip for breakfast.
Yeah.
You know, he
Well,
just
the other
gave,
thing they don't tell you,
like Robin Hood.
Yeah.
you know?
Okay. So it was the same kind of thing. So that was his hero.
Yeah.
Well, my buddy did 6 years for drug trafficking, and he was really good at it. And when the 15 black SUVs showed up, he was like, "I'm done," because they're like, "We've been watching you," and everything. They wanted him to turn on his mafia cohorts. He didn't, and he was in jail for 6 years. And he was like, when they found out I wasn't a rat, it was. If I had access to women, I would have stayed there. It was the best time in the world, working out, hanging out with them. And he said that the criminals in federal penitentiary, like Fort Dix, are so intelligent. A lot of them are just, what they don't tell you in jail is when you go to jail, you're going to meet some pretty fascinating, intelligent, cool people, which you don't realize. I mean, a state pen might be different, depending, but for the most part, you're going to meet some pretty smart people.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah. And
Sophisticated crime.
yeah, so you can see these guys.
Let's check this out.
Oh, I don't know what this is. The cop. This is a different one.
It said this is the.
Are they driving through a building right now?
Yeah, they are amazing.
They
Look at
drove this into this looks like a mall.
this. Yeah, they're so ballsy, dude.
What?
They're so ballsy.
They know exactly what they're going
They
for.
know exactly what they want. 3.4 million, but they've gotten away with hundreds of millions. They are the most successful.
170 seconds.
Yeah.
So
They're
2 minutes and 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Or is that right? No.
And they all, it's men and
3
women.
minutes.
It's men and women. And they all rely on each other. The way they work together is incredible.
Pink Panther.
Yeah, and they're gone. And they're gone. They've been doing this forever.
Wow.
And they hit all over the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's awesome. It makes you feel like that's some juice.
Yeah.
But it's the same guys that ride massive waves. It's the same personality trait.
Mm-hmm.
People that do these crazy things. You probably knew a lot of those guys in the military, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of
Guys
course.
who,
Yeah, dude, we had these like junkies that like you have to go through jump school to become a Navy SEAL. That's just part of the pipeline. It's like the very end. You have to go through, get what it was like 3 weeks of jump, and you have to do 30 free fall jumps or 25 free fall and then 5 static line. That's the one where you like jump out and it pulls it for you and you hit the ground hard. And then the free fall ones, you have instructors that fly with you and they make sure you don't freak out and you can pull. But then some of the like after that, I'm like, I'm good. I got 30 jumps and I survived all of them. I'm good. But then some guys went on to like they try to become sky gods or whatever. And
well, look at Andy Stumpf.
Yeah.
Andy Stumpf was Dev Crew. That wasn't enough. Winning four Bronze Stars with a V device wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And then he gets shot, and then he breaks the world record in the squirrel suit for Red Bull.
He's a maniac.
Well, then he gets his black belt in like 5 years. Fuck that guy.
He's a badass dude.
And he's got great hair. Anyway.
So tell me about were you born in the Philippines?
I was born in the Philippines.
Yeah, tell me about your story coming up. I know you kind of like lived everywhere before you got
Philippines,
here.
India. I lived in Pakistan. I lived in India, Calcutta, and Bombay. My sister was born in Bombay. Then we moved to Lebanon. Then we moved to Pakistan. Then we moved back to Lebanon. The war broke out. So a total of 5 years in Lebanon. When the war broke out, we're stuck in Lebanon for a while. I remember living in the Holiday Inn, then having to sleep on the ground, crazy shit.
Whoa.
And then and then I went back to Lebanon, but then we got evacuated to Greece, and then Saudi Arabia.
How do you go from the Philippines to all these other countries?
When I was 14, I moved to the States. It was the first time I lived in the United States.
Oh, okay.
Right? And in the process, I traveled everywhere. But I was a true nomad. I was always moved constantly, total chaos.
What did your parents do?
My dad was a banker and probably, worked for intelligence too a little bit. He was a Marine and all that, but he was mostly a banker. Everybody's like, oh, he was in the CIA. Okay, you go ahead and believe that. It's fun. But, he was also mostly a banker.
That's cool.
Banker.
Yeah, sure. Believe it. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
CIA.
But I think all those things are a lot more fancy than you think.
You and Tucker are just like the same thing. Two peas in a pod.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was a great experience because my mother would just immerse us in the culture and the food. Immerse us. She learned Arabic fluently. She learned Urdu in Pakistan. She learned Hindi. She spoke a fluent Italian and French, Wow. So because she's Italian, but I think that helped her with her languages. But she was really good at Arabic for a while.
That's crazy. I had to take 2 semesters.
Language.
I had to take
Arabic
2 semesters.
is hard.
It's horrible. It's
a very rich language.
And it's hard to pronounce it too. That's the hardest part. Yeah. You can learn how to say these words, which mean these words.
A lot of it's in the back. Shawarma.
Exactly. Like ishmish. Yeah.
Especially Iraq. Iraq is the original Arabic. A lot of people say.
Is that the MSA? Oh yeah.
There's a lot of it's in the back of the throat.
Yeah. You still speak any of this?
No. Shoya. None. Zero. It's too hard.
Yeah.
I always say I speak French, but it's just a complete lie. I can butcher it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so you got here 14, and then what happened from 14 on?
I went to boarding school in Massachusetts because my family was still in Saudi Arabia. So
you were here by yourself?
Yeah, I couldn't go to school there because the schools only go up to 8th grade.
Okay.
The Saudi government didn't want expats. The kids.
So they're like,
kids.
Good luck, 14-year-old.
Too much trouble, drugs, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It was a very strict country at the time. Changing on a lot now, and then so I went away to boarding school, and I would see my parents like twice a year. So from 14 to 18, and then from 18 to 21, I went to American University in D.C. So that was that. And then I decided I wanted to be an actor, and then I said that's a bad idea. Then I became a banker in New York. And then I was, always back and forth. And then finally I got this show, Mad TV, 30 years ago.
So you're an actor, then a banker.
I'm internationally famous. Where's my camera? Where the fuck is my camera? What kind of reach does this thing have? Have you watched False Gods, my special? See, I'm really good at promotion. Guys, False Gods on YouTube. It'll change your life. I did Rogan. I mentioned False Gods at the very end. I'm really good at self-promotion.
Yeah.
But it's awkward. I don't know how to do it.
You guys, man, I love it when you two are both doing a podcast together because there's always fireworks.
Oh yeah,
I've seen so many guests come in and out of that studio, but to see you two, you're the one that will butt heads with them.
Yeah, we fight.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I was nice, but a lot of times we used to get in crazy arguments, dude.
Yeah,
we'd be like
used to.
yeah. Now, yeah, he gets. I don't. It's his podcast, so I can't. I can't do too much of it. But yeah, I know him too well. He's my friend. He's not Joe Rogan. He's my friend.
Yeah, that's what it's
Everybody
very
else is
apparent.
Like Joe Rogan is big.
You guys are more like brothers.
That is truly my true friend.
How long have you guys known each other?
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah, he's really my friend. He's somebody I really. When I look at him, he's more than a friend. That's my history.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? He's a contentious human being. He's very prickly, and he's very but I love him. He's a pain in the ass. He can be, but I know who he is deeply.
Yeah.
He's such a good person, and he's also such an honest person, and he really cares about his friends, but he's also volatile, and he's just, you never know with him, man. He's unpredictable as a personality, but that's what makes him so complicated and special.
Yeah.
His curiosity, his energy, his ability to be consistent, his discipline.
Right.
He used to call me Joe Rogan light because he's too intense. If he's going to do something, he's going to do it until he,
masters it.
Falls, until he literally passes out. That's what makes him special. It's not an accident.
Yeah, just shooting.
People don't know what his stand-up, what he used to do to rooms.
If you've had the vaccine, particularly if it's Pfizer or Moderna, you have this in you. If you had the PCR testing and you had that hydrogel that contained the graphene oxide, you have this in you. Once we realized that this is what we were facing, we were like, well, what are we going to do now?
I know you guys are able to find and remove some of these objects that are implanted in people, but with this newest stuff, you're saying it's at the nanoscale. So how are you going to remove stuff at the nanoscale?
With the nanotech, there is a solution, high-grade zeolite. Zeolite is usually found in it's sourced at 2 locations, usually blue zones, areas where humans tend to live far longer and healthier. It has to have volcanic activity where the diatomaceous earth and the sea meet, and that's where they get this pure high-grade zeolite, which has a negative charge to it. When it's integrated into the human body, what it does is it binds to the graphene oxide, and so they've done studies now where they did a baseline, exposed people to the graphene oxide, and then what they see is that after about 90 days, it'll be down to a minimal level. Most people who are on this right now are saying they're having significant improvements in how they're feeling, the symptoms that they're getting, and it's as much as over 50%.
He's older now. He does a different thing. He still does great with stand-up, but people don't know. If you had seen Rogan when he was 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and like what he was doing in his 30s in terms of just pure power and what he would do to a room was fucking unreal. Like you've never seen anything like it. I'm telling you.
Really?
Oh, dude, like I can't even describe it. He'd do these things like 2 tigers fucking and forget it, bro. Like his accents, his ability to do voices, it was like, he's got these little secrets. He can draw really well. Or
really?
Play pool. Oh, yeah, he's a fucking really good draftsman. See, you don't know that.
I didn't know that.
And how long have you known him?
5 years.
Yeah. He's an excellent draftsman. He can draw really well.
Wow.
I know.
Who would have thought?
And he can do accents as well as anybody on the planet, but he never does them because he thinks they're a little hacky. But he can mimic and do a better Arnold or anything than if he wants to do that stuff, he can. He's got these little little secrets that he doesn't share.
He's just full of
Everyone's
talent.
he's a podcaster and he does jujitsu. No. He's actually way more an artist.
He's got so much talent inside of that one person.
But Joe grew up, where the world was dangerous, so he had to build armor.
Yeah.
He didn't have the luxury of being,
What do you mean by
relaxed.
that?
He grew up in a very dangerous world. He didn't have a father to be there to protect him. He didn't have anybody. He was him.
Yeah.
He couldn't rely. He loved his mother, I'm sure, but he couldn't rely on anybody to give him money. He didn't ever rely on anybody. There was no parachute, and there was certainly the world was a dangerous place, and he saw that at a very young age.
Well, I'm sure you saw it too.
No, I didn't. Not the same way.
14, being in another country.
I know, but I had my father. And I had money.
Yeah.
At least I had a little parachute. Not a lot of money, but I had enough money. I thought it was a lot of money when I was growing up.
But they just send you money?
In other words, if my dad paid my rent. So the fundamental difference between Joe and myself is when I decided to be an actor, my father, who grew up with nothing, said, "I don't want you making ends meet. I'll pay your rent." He said that. And so I was older. I quit working for Lehman Brothers. And I was going to get another job. I temped and stuff. I worked. But he said to me, "I'll pay your rent." I never forgot it. Because I said, "I want to be an actor. I want to try this." He goes, "I'll pay your rent so you don't have to, so you can you can work on acting." And I was 20, I was 21, 22, or 23, whatever I was.
That's
I don't
incredible.
remember. Or 24. And he said, "That's a big deal." Joe didn't have that. When you have a father that'll do that for you, the world's safe. Because if the shit hit the fan, I can go back to daddy. You understand?
Yeah.
It makes you a little bit of a pussy in comparison. Like, the only thing that kept me going was my ego and my pride. It didn't come from a good place. I just have a big ego. And so, and a higher regard for myself than I should.
Your comedy's great.
Thank
so
you.
however you got to where you are, dude, you're one of my favorite comics.
Oh, really?
To see you go up, like
you,
your control. Yeah, you're just so
really
calm
hard
up there.
At it. Yeah,
it's just crazy.
I work so, that's my one religion. Like I worked so hard at it. My idea is just original self-expression. I want to be original. That's what I care about.
What's cool? Like I look up to guys like you. I aspire to guys like you that just like you figured it out. You're up there and you've gotten to a point in your career where all your shit hits, all your shit kills, and you're just funny, you're relaxed, you're loose, and fuck, it's just another day at the office for you when you're up there. And it's cool to see you guys like the older comedians that are up there doing that, and I had me thinking the other day, like, what do you guys think of like these younger comedians that are coming up? Is there anything about how they prepare or what they're doing or their approach to comedy that surprises you?
No.
No? Is it the same as this what you guys did?
I mean, I've seen some good at the mothership. I saw this kid Jimmy
Moynihan.
Jimmy Moynihan, very funny, man.
Was that the Jimmy that was
guy,
in here?
And
Yeah.
who's that shorter black guy, Tony, the doorman? Funny dude, man. Smart, funny.
Sure.
Dylan.
Carlino?
No, Dylan.
Sullivan.
Sullivan's great. Peyton Ruddy. So there's some really fun stuff, but these are young guys. For me, it's like you're not gonna surprise me with anything.
Yeah.
I can love seeing what you're doing, but again, I have 5 hours literally or more of material. Literally, I probably have 6 hours of material.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right, but I've been doing it a long time, so this is a long game.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this a long time, and it's one thing to be young and have 20 good minutes, but a little bit different when you have to.
But I mean, like their approach to kind of figuring it out, right? Is it different than how you guys grew up and how you were kind of taught by the older guard on how you need to?
No, you're never taught anything. I never was taught anything.
Because I feel like you guys are constantly giving advice to the younger comics, though. I always see mentoring going on outside.
Yeah, I don't really give any. The only time I'll say something to a younger comic is if somebody has a lot of talent. I will say, like Tommy Pope. I think Tommy Pope is incredible. Tommy Pope is so talented, but he has no idea. And I said to him the other day, I go, "Hey, dude, I don't know how you feel about yourself, but because he's an artist and he's got a very tenuous relationship probably with his own art. But I just said to him, I go, I hope you take yourself as seriously as I do because you're so good and inspiring. He's so special, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'll just say that to somebody. I'll just say that to somebody because I want them to hear it from somebody older who knows the difference. Because sometimes you need a little shot in the arm sometimes.
Right.
It's nice to hear.
What do you think about like this whole cancel culture and how it started off where everybody was like, oh, fuck, be careful what you say because you'll get canceled, And then that kind of quickly developed into, actually, this will make you go viral and you'll grow bigger than you've ever been by
Depends
doing...
on what kind of cancellation it is, though. Right? I think there was the Me Too movement, which was, you don't walk away from that. But then there was other cancellations, like, if you said something that's kind of like iffy or racist or whatever, but you're also really funny, like Tony Hinchcliffe, not that he said anything racist, by the way, but just that he said that thing about Puerto Rico or whatever. And Tony is, like, we all know he's joking, man. We all know he's just funny and doing something. So, like, fuck off, or like Shane Gillis, he's undeniable. So he said something about Asian people. Like, shut up. You kicked him off SNL. Fuck off. Like he was like, really? How about I become the biggest comic in the world? So that's a different thing. So I think cancel culture sucks, but it's also unavoidable because it's the public square. You're going to have people that hate you, but in social media, you can also say things that are pretty crazy and have a huge following. That's
what I was gonna say.
You can say some pretty outrageous stuff, and there are a lot of people that are gonna follow. We live in a time where your monologue, when you amplify your monologue, and when you can really draw strong and bad lines, and say that we are right and they are evil, we're good and they're demonic.
Right.
When you can do that, if you can paint yourself in with biblical lines, you're going to make a lot of money. You're not going to be honest, but you can make a lot of money.
Do you find that like it could be setting these, because that's kind of the culture now, and these younger comedians are probably seeing like, hey, dude, that dude went viral just by saying this one thing. He got in trouble for a little bit.
Yeah, you get rewarded for spectacle. You get rewarded for sort of like being mean. I don't know that lasts. It's a young man's game.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think that's like that controversy is more of a trap to them that might be hindering their careers?
Trap.
Because I'm starting to notice that.
Yeah, because what happens is you get people to follow you. Yeah. But you start to learn that doesn't mean much.
And now you need that as a crutch. You need controversy as a crutch now.
Yeah, because it's something called style over substance. If Dave Chappelle's an artist, Dave Chappelle's saying something of substance. Dave Chappelle's making an argument. When people write books, it's really hard to write a good novel or a book in general, but that's your argument for how one should behave in the world. And, you can find an audience if you want it. You can take a shit on stage and find an audience for it. You know, you can, you know, there's a difference between entertainment and art. I think there is criteria for things that last. Look, there's a reason when I hear Kashmir by Led Zeppelin, when I hear Over the Hills and Far Away by Led Zeppelin, when I hear anything by Zeppelin, it's high math and it never gets old.
Yeah.
It never gets old. That's the fundamental difference. Whereas if I hear, with all due respect, Drops of Jupiter by who cares?
Yeah.
You know, it's fine. They're good, you know, they're artists, they're good, talented kids or people. But it's just not, for whatever reason, it's a hook and a trick in comparison. And they probably would never disagree with that either. You know, so doing something that's original and really good that lasts is so hard.
Well, how is that in the environment, the comedy environment that you found yourself? Because you've been doing this for long enough to where you've probably seen the world change so many times throughout your comedy career. Like, what is that like? Like, I feel like we're one of the most divided we've ever been in this country in a long time right now. The left and the right is so divided. How is that a struggle as a comedian trying to come up with material that resonates with both sides in that room?
I don't think that we are as divided as people think. I think that we just have the technology to create an echo chamber. So it's much easier to purify your echo chamber. It's much easier to find a team, and your algorithm keeps lying to you, so you start to think you know, you have all the answers. So in that sense, we're more divided. But what's interesting about us as human beings is that we're using the same language to make the same argument. Look, the left is saying that the right is killing democracy. The right is saying that the left hates free speech. But we're arguing for the same things in a lot of ways.
That's a good point.
Right? So I think we've always been very divided.
I think
you want to
just
talk about division, talk about World War II. We talk about, you know, the Reformation, to talk about, the Renaissance in Europe. It was 500 years of continuous war. You know, I mean, even in Japan, where they talk about a monoculture and people that look the same, they were in essentially a civil war for 1,000 years and a very intense one for 300 years.
Wow.
The birth of the samurai, the fact they were so good at making steel and good at archery, and that goes to show you that you could get rid of all the racism on the planet.
Yeah,
everybody could look exactly the same. We find a reason to hate each other. It's like, because you're over there and I'm over here.
Right.
So, you know, I love this whole idea that if we could just get rid of racism, that we'd all get along. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You just don't know what you're talking about. You ever see a Ukrainian and a Russian? Do they look the same? Yeah. How about a Taiwanese and a Chinese? It's people kill each other over not just resources, but people have different ideas, different philosophies.
They like to click up too. People are they like to click up.
Tribal.
And yeah.
I love being around people that agree with me.
Yeah.
I feel way more comfortable around a guy can look at you and I know how you feel about life because I know what you've accomplished. And then there's a woman who's got purple hair with a bull ring in her nose at a coffee shop. My guess is we're going to see the world a little bit differently, and I'm not as comfortable around her. It doesn't mean she doesn't have something to offer me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean she can't like make me see something I haven't seen. But I'd rather be around, you know, Shawn.
And that's just a survival instinct that we're built with. That's just evolution.
Yeah.
Like you look for threats in the environment and you start to recognize them, and your brain builds patterns and neurological connections that anytime I see something like that again, I need to, you know, like the hair is going to stand up on the back of your head because it's there to protect you, right?
My buddy Af, who was a Green Beret, just retired. He was Green Beret for 23 years and saw a lot of stuff. Was on the combat team, whatever it is, and just did a lot of stuff. And I said, what happened? You know, there was a moment where you just kind of grew disillusioned or whatever. And he said, what happened to me was I realized that the bad guys didn't think of themselves as bad. And then it got real convoluted for me.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that's pretty fucking, that's a tough realization.
Well, of course they're not going to think of themselves as the bad guys, you know?
Yeah. But a lot of them were
they're always
just
the hero.
Well, they were just doing what their older brother was doing, or they were doing what their tribe was doing. Or they were. You can't think that way, by the way, when you're in combat. It's a very bad idea.
Oh, of course. Well, one of the things I wish we could do is, like, you know, the Men in Black movie, and they got that little pin, and they can just make you forget however far back they want you to forget. I just wish we could do that to the whole world. I wish we could just poof.
Yeah.
everybody in the whole world, and everybody could forget everything that's happened, and we could just start fresh. Because it's like a fucking fist fight that's been going on for so long that we don't even remember who threw the first punch anymore. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter who's in the wrong and who's in the right. We're all in the wrong now because we haven't been able to stop this fighting, just bickering and fucking.
Well, the hardest thing is persuasion. The hardest thing is to win hearts and minds. The hardest thing is to beat a bad idea like Hamas with a better idea.
Yeah.
Hamas is a bad idea. I would argue that monarchy is a bad idea. I would argue that tribalism is a bad idea. And you have to beat it with a better idea. And I think the Founding Fathers did that. I think the Founding Fathers solved the political problem. And nobody wants, anybody who disagrees with that is just ignorant.
Yeah, but they solved it for our country, not the world. That's the problem.
But the whole world seems to at least try to. The liberal democracies that are Europe are a version of that.
Yeah.
Now, we owe a debt of gratitude to the British, of course, for this. But I'm just saying that, by the people, for the people, and of the people is a radical idea. I mean, it's a radical idea. The central question in political philosophy is who governs the governor.
Right.
And so, I think that's something that, that is, trying to change people's minds is really, really hard, especially if they come from a culture that the cultures are very resilient, So, but that's the big, it's like this saying, there's a great saying, and it's from Why Nations Fail, I think, Darren Asamoglu, and he said, you can hold a gun to a man's head and make him move a stone. You can't hold a gun to a man's head and make him have a great idea.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and that's the problem we're left to deal with. You and I and a lot of us, we measure strength with one metric, right? How's your roll? How's jiu-jitsu?
Right.
How do you went shooting? How's you staying in shape? Now my back. It's all this like physical shit.
Yeah.
But there are so many other metrics. It's actually you have a society that is ruled by guys like that. You're going to have a very boring society. It's going to be a culture's interesting when you allow your creatives, who are the exact opposite, to flourish.
Yeah.
And that's what the Founding Fathers knew.
Yeah.
Individual rights.
Now all we have to do is just keep it as best as we can.
Yeah. Well, George Washington said that, men will invent laws to take their own freedom away from themselves.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like, fuck, man. And I've had this thought recently as I'm starting to get older now. I'm like 41, and it's almost like you're bearing the responsibility of carrying the torch forward now. It's like I'm getting into that age where my generation is going to start taking over these leadership roles and going into politics and doing a lot of these things. And it's kind of like we have a responsibility to carry the torch forward and not let this Constitution like fall apart within this country. And if we don't do that, you don't want to be the generation that fails.
No, you don't.
You know what I mean?
Because there's nowhere else for us to go.
Exactly. There's nothing.
There's nowhere else to go. We'll just repeat the same mistakes.
So, maybe I'm
This
just
is the
getting
difference
older.
between rule of law and rule of man.
Yeah.
Be careful about being too blindly loyal to any human being. This is also a Christian tenet too. Like the value of religion is, in a sense, is exactly that, which is a loyalty to nothing man-made and that I can measure. Ultimately, I'm responsible to something higher than myself.
Damn.
Yeah, you got to write this shit down, dude. I'm fucking dropping nuggets.
Josh, pull up that Adelita Grijalvi. She's got a very interesting last name I've never seen before. So, have you heard about this? So, the government shutdown that's going on?
Yeah.
So, a buddy of mine I was having dinner with last night, he goes, "Do you want to know why you want to know why the government's really shut down?" He goes, "Look up this Arizona representative." He goes, "Right now, she represents the 218th vote basically she's the tiebreaker vote that hasn't been sworn in by Mike Johnson. And if she gets sworn in, she's already said publicly that she will be voting in favor of the discharge petition for the Epstein files." This is the woman right here, and what they're saying now, it's a growing fucking roar or grumbling.
Is she a Democrat?
I don't know. I don't know what she is.
Look up if she's a Democrat.
Well, here's
It may be that she just breaks the tie in a lot of votes.
It could be, but it's very suspicious timing because right after she won the election, the government shut down.
I know, but
And she's a Democrat.
may I give you Occam's Razor's version of this?
Go for it. I'm curious to your
It's
thoughts.
just because she's the tiebreaker in a lot of things, in a lot of legislation. Mike Johnson wants to get something through before that.
Yeah,
like
but
the budget.
nothing. These people typically get sworn in immediately. They
No,
would have
but
typically
that's also
sworn
a
her in
that's
before
not a
they
new
broke.
political move. That's not a new political move. It's not about the Epstein files.
You don't think so?
I don't think there's anything in the Epstein files. Nobody wants to I think all of that. See, but you got to look back in 2008 when he was arrested. He was tipped off before that. Do you know that? They threw all the computers away. When Epstein knew that the feds were coming for him, he was tipped off. I think 2 or 3 days before this.
Okay.
Okay.
So he had time to throw away
promise you that
evidence.
whoever he was working for got rid of all of the evidence or took it and put it somewhere. Because guess what? They found nothing on those
But
computers.
that's his personal evidence. What about all of the girls?
I'll get into that.
Yeah.
Then when you do a plea deal like that, like he did, he got basically a complete plea deal because he belonged to intelligence or whatever, totally egregious and a total miscarriage of justice. They stop collecting evidence when that happens. That is a legal thing. You don't collect evidence after that. You're not allowed to. The reason that they retried him, the reason it came back was because the Victims' Rights Act didn't allow, they never informed the victims that they were going to give them a plea deal. You have to do that, and they didn't. And the lawyers were so angry that they never let it go. So they brought it back up in 2016. But what I'm trying to say is that anybody who thinks that there are a bunch of like videos, and also if there are videos of underage girls or those women, the Justice Department can't release those.
Yeah.
That's a violation of their privacy. There's
Even
a whole
if they're
bunch of,
calling
there's a
for
whole
them
bunch
to
of
do it?
plea deals. There's a whole bunch of stuff like that.
Even if these girls are saying, no, I'm okay with you releasing my stuff.
Well, it may be, but it depends on, first of all, the second thing is any of that stuff with famous people, like whether it's Bill Clinton or whoever it is, or Bill Gates, that stuff is not around anymore. That stuff, I believe, is either in some archive in some government like Israel, or it's not. But, I don't think that you're going to open up the Epstein files and be like, aha, there he is. I think that's totally naive. I think all that shit has been I think a couple things have happened. All that evidence has been collected and destroyed, or it's being held somewhere that is unreachable.
Do you think they're holding something over Trump?
I don't think so at all, but I don't know. But there's either that or remember, a lot of these men who are implicated were rich as shit.
Yeah,
when
I
they
know.
came to Prince Andrew, they wanted $26 million to shut up. The reason it became a thing is Prince Andrew said, fuck off.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, and so now he's ruined.
Yeah, he
But
just
if he
got.
had paid $26 million, which he probably didn't have,
Yeah.
it would have all gone away. Or
He's got $26 million.
Well, it's probably part of the family trust. So the Buckingham Palace doesn't want to be seen paying off hush money to that degree.
Right.
That's just a bad look. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm just guessing that these things, $26 million is a very hard thing to come by. People think that's a really big number.
Yeah.
Big number. You got to make $50 million for that. So what I'm trying to say is that there's and he could have pleaded out and probably talked to them, but he said no altogether. So a lot of these situations, the lawyers of these victims came to these men. They came first to them. It wasn't as though they just got blindsided.
Oh, so they were trying to do settlement.
Of course.
Oh, I see.
Of course,
Okay.
because a lot of these women are older now. There's a whole thing. So a lot of these women, there's a whole thing behind the scenes that was going on. So a lot of hush money was probably paid out by very wealthy people who had the means to do that. Very powerful people are going to figure out a way to keep people fucking quiet. They do that. They're very good at that, and they have the money to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Any
So
influence.
again, like people keep looking for the smoking gun. I think it's going to be disappointing to a lot
Maybe
of
that's
people.
part of it because they've paid out so many of these billionaires that were on this flight log. Maybe
Sure.
that's part of it.
But
It's
the
like,
flight
well,
logs
how do
mean
we?
nothing. The flight logs, all that means that people were there. A lot of people went on those flights. A lot. They weren't all having sex with children. That's not how it worked. It was
Well,
like,
you know what the public is going to think, though. That's the problem. Even if
but
they
we know
weren't
who was
doing
on.
that,
We know we have the list of the people that were famous that were on that took the Lolita
we have a
Express.
few of the names. We don't have the complete
See how
flight
many-
logs.
see how many people were on there. You know, there were a lot of people on those logs. I mean, again, that doesn't, even if you saw all of them, it doesn't tell you anything.
So I know there's a group of the victims, the girls, they're all grown up now. And they came out not that long ago basically saying, all right, if you're not going to put it out, we're going to put it out. And then I never heard nothing from them again. So
150 names.
There's 150 names. We've got like a couple of them. We got Bill Clinton, Stephen Hawking, and that's the only two I've heard.
Times, but again,
here we go. Here are the ones we got.
Yeah.
Out of 150 names, we have Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, Kevin Spacey, Naomi Campbell, Alan Dershowitz, Al Gore, and Michael Jackson.
He had a lot of people on his flights, you know.
Wow.
It was kind of the place to go if you were in the cool club,
you
know.
I can imagine.
Parties.
It's an island.
It's like P. Diddy. I knew P. Diddy's chef.
But word gets out. Don't you think people would be like, hey, there's some fishy shit going on over there? Be careful.
Fishy shit, but I know a guy who was P. Diddy's chef for 5 years, was at those parties, would cook for everybody, and was there till 3 a.m. sometimes, cleaning and making midnight snacks
like
and all
a
that.
horrible job.
I said to him, I go, what did you see? He goes, dude, I didn't see anything. It was just a party. I didn't see that. It doesn't mean it didn't happen, but it also means probably that shit would happen in a small group later on, somewhere else. I don't know, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
the initial party
is
was
always
probably
way
just
less sexy.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we just want to find this stuff, but I think the truth is always like, you know, there were probably a couple scumbags like Jeffrey Epstein, right? You know what I'm saying? Or like who was dealing with like 14-year and 15-year-old runaways. You know? Yeah, scumbag.
Well, we'll see.
We know he did that.
You think they're ever going to give what they got at least?
I think, you know what I really think? I think for the most part that island was a honeypot, and I think that was just where powerful men like Clinton and everything else went to get laid with professionals. And I think there's probably a video of those guys with professionals. But I think that video, if it was a foreign country, they don't want to be known as the country that got evidence on an ex-president or the richest man in the world. That's not a good look either.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think that it was just a sex fucking island. I think it's where business deals went down.
Of course.
I think the primary purpose of that island was for business deals to go down. And they knew, regardless of what country you're from, we could bring you here. We're on an island out in the middle of the fucking ocean. And yeah, you're going to get laid. You're going to get to party a little bit, but we're going to fucking do some huge business deals.
I am sure that they probably had evidence on people where they were like, hey, we got you. But here's my question. If that were the case and they came to people like Prince Andrew and stuff, then why didn't Prince Andrew settle right away? You know? Like, I don't know.
Because he didn't want to. That's a good question, right? Maybe the royal family had something to do with that.
Well, we know Les Wexler, or whatever, who owned the Limited, one of the richest men in the world, gave his entire estate, power of attorney, to Jeffrey Epstein when Jeffrey Epstein was like 30. What's going on?
Fucking shit.
So
right?
I think they had real dirt on that guy. Like maybe he was into little boys. Who the fuck knows? But they had something on him where he goes, here's my fortune.
Yeah, that's fucking strange, man. It's a very strange situation. I think they were using Jeffrey Epstein and that island as like the middle piece for the whole world, and that's where they would pull people in to have negotiations, political negotiations, and it's the perfect setup to have negotiations with enemy countries.
Yeah, he was also a money launderer.
Yeah.
What was Ehud Barak doing there in disguise?
Yeah.
The prime minister, an ex-member of Sariyat Metkal, which is their Delta Force,
Yeah.
He can pick any lock in the world. He was in the same unit as Netanyahu.
Who fucking knows? Speaking of fucking chaos across the world, Bridget Macron. Have you seen the latest with this?
No. I think Candace Owens is being sued, though, right?
She is, but I've heard that literally they're just doing that for the cameras, like or for the news. So Bridget Macron, the latest on her. Open that up there, Josh.
But that's the Hindustan Times.
They found official France tax documents listing her real name as Jean-Michel Macron.
Hold on. This is crazy.
Yes, dude. So all this shit we've been going through for the last year.
Most prominent false claims about her. She was born a male, later transitioned. Okay. Now, a spokesman for Bridget Macron has said that her tax documents were hacked in 2024 and his name was altered.
Of course they're going to fucking say that.
I believe that.
They're going to say that.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Chances?
I'll tell you what's going to happen. She's in a real lawsuit, and she's following it through with
Candace.
Yeah. Now, have you ever been in a lawsuit? Lawsuits, when you go to trial like this, they will. It's called just a process of discovery.
Okay.
And they're going to look at everything, and Candace Owens' side can look at anything they want now that it's a legal case. Okay.
Oh, so Candace can look also at anything she
it's
wants.
discovery. So your lawyers can ask for anything they want.
Interesting.
So guess what? I think what you're going to find, and I think she probably knows this, because she asked Trump to step in.
Mm-hmm.
She's I think what she's probably going to find is that this was a rumor started by a right-wing party in France during the election. Somebody wrote a book about it, but she's presenting pictures. She's got her children who are like, "This is my mom, you fucking dummy." Now,
she does.
Here is where it's controversial. And
she looks like a fucking guy.
But here's why they wanted to be quiet about it. She was a lot older. Like, I think he was 15, right?
Yeah, she was 47 or 40.
Well, she was probably in her
43.
1536.
15 and 36. Is that
now
what it was? I thought she was
right.
older.
So that's like, now that is embarrassing. That's weird.
That's fucking weird.
Right?
Yeah.
So she's 21 years older than him.
And he just happens to
There you
become
go.
president of France. That was
But you see what
this
I'm
was
saying?
organized
He
a
was
long
obviously a
time
very
ago.
special 15-year-old, but hey, that's embarrassing,
Maybe
and
he's-
that you go to jail for that, right?
He might be hung. Maybe he's hung.
Who
like an
knows?
elephant.
He's going to be an entirely forgettable leader, but
You think it's a girl? You can't even say it.
Do I think
I don't
what?
want to get you engrossed. in
no,
that.
I don't think she's a woman at all. I mean, a man. I think that's a complete rumor. I don't buy that rumor. Yeah, I never bought that. I thought it was the craziest rumor ever. I thought it was the nuttiest rumor ever. But it sucks. It sucks for her.
Well, speaking of Candace, pull up that Candace one. Where is this? Have you seen this video yet?
No.
This is the latest one she put out. She's been putting something out every week. Yeah. This is the latest one. Shows text messages from Charlie Kirk to her. I don't know how long. I think this was a few years before his actual murder, but it's him telling her that he's been having like premonitions that he's gonna die young. And he was telling her this way back in the day.
Well, anybody who took that much heat and hate,
right?
It's like Steven Crowder was doing this forever ago.
Yeah.
It's a very real concern.
Steven Crowder does the same thing?
All these guys have security, man.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand. I understand that side of it, but it is kind of eerie, all the shit she's putting out. Play that.
You need the headphones for this one.
Oh, okay. Grab your headphones there, bud. We're very professional here. Okay.
I love it.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers to you, buddy.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for having a drink with me.
Come on, man.
Charlie was done with Israel bullying him, and I am now going to present you proof of what I am saying. This is an actual group chat, which happened 2 days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. There were 9 people in total on this chat, including Charlie.
She's got such a good voice.
And Rob McCoy. I'm going to protect the names of the other 7
She's sharp.
for now.
I know her a little bit.
To be clear, I might actually release a name every day this week, but I want to show you this because suffice it to say, Rob McCoy was on this text thread, and I think it helps contextualize him as a person, in my view, that he would attack me for telling the truth about the pressure that he was facing. Take a look. So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, oh.
No, I don't think this is it, Josh.
Charlie writes, Jewish.
The latest one, she's talking about Charlie telling her he thinks he's going to die.
All right, I'll find it.
Oh.
We'll come back. Back to it.
He was he was
That
was
is a crazy
critical
video,
of,
though.
of sort of what was going on in Gaza a little bit and Israel and its influence. And
What do you think about the whole Charlie situation, man? Do you think,
I think
it's this
that
Tyler Robinson guy?
Yeah, and I blame the left for their incendiary, catastrophizing language, and you're going to have kooks that are going to go, oh, he's a fascist. When Joe Biden says Donald Trump is a threat to the very foundations of this republic.
Right.
When he lets 20 million people in.
Yeah, all these little trigger
he
words
can
they keep
fuck off,
using.
and so can Kamala Harris.
They're brainwashing.
So can the whole left because they're so irresponsible.
Yeah.
What is the word? Stochastic terrorism. When you just keep talking about how dangerous these people are, how
Is that
they're
what it's called?
fascists and how evil they are.
Stochastic
and you use that kind
terrorism?
of language constantly, and then he gets shot. You don't think that's on purpose? I do. I think these people suck, and I think they're bad.
Well, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they want him. They know they're gonna get somebody like this fucking emotionally disturbed kid to shoot him in the neck. People love to think it's some like you don't need that. You need you can always get some cuckoo bird to listen to your words and act accordingly.
Exactly. If only these cuckoo birds out there realize how they were using them as pawns and manipulating them through what they're saying in front of them. You know what I mean? Like if only you could just like sit them down and shake them and go, do you not see how they're trying to aggravate you? Do you not see how they're trying to fucking trigger you to do something violent? Like wake the fuck up.
That's right.
You know? Like
people want to think it's that Israel killed Charlie because he was having second thoughts about the Israeli cause, and that's a sexy, people. There's all this Israel's all powerful and all that stuff. I blame the left. I blame their language over the past 10 years, and I think you're going to have people, and we have had people who hide in trees and try to kill the president, get up on roofs and try to shoot the president, and do shoot the president and kill somebody behind him. And I think that we've always dealt with assassins, and assassination has been a part of American political life, and in fact, in political life in general. So again, I always go to the least sexy answer. Yes, there are crazy people out there. Yeah, there are a lot of men who are unstable. There are a lot of men who are alone and just living on, porn and video games and gambling and they're just and all the drugs and the SSRIs, and I think it's just a perfect cocktail for some people to decide they're going to try to go out with a bang. This is school shooters. This is all that stuff. So.
Do you think what do you think about like MK Ultra? You think anything of that?
See, everybody wants to blame the CIA for MK Ultra. I just blame a
CIA's
culture
fault.
of nihilism. Yeah, I blame a culture of nihilism. I blame a godless culture. I blame the American Lost. I call it the American Lost.
But do
I
you
see
think
it with
there's
my
any
own
of that
eyes.
programming going on?
No,
You
I
believe
don't
in
think the
any of the
CIA
MK
has
Ultra?
a program where they program young people. I think people have always altered their state with drugs, mushrooms and peyote and funguses like acid and ayahuasca. I think people have always smoked weed or drank booze. We didn't need the CIA for us to fucking try to escape our shitty lives.
Yeah.
Maybe the Garden of Eden was kind of cool, but I doubt that too, because I wouldn't want to be in a garden where nothing fucking happens. But I mean, this is human existence.
Yeah, this is kind of going down a rabbit hole here, but one of my last guests I had on the podcast, his name is Jesse Beltran. This guy's been studying basically chips being implanted in people over the years, without their consent, without them knowing anything about it. But you go to get your wisdom teeth taken out, they take them out and they slip something else in there. It's a long story and it sounds like tinfoil hat stuff, but then he goes around and scans people with an RF scanner. And he starts hitting these different spots, and then your something underneath your skin is giving an RF signal, and then something over here, and then something here, and then something here, something here, and he can even tell you exactly where this thing is going to ping on you. Hear me out, okay? A lot of the mass shooters that have shot up and killed a whole bunch of people, they were complaining about extremely low frequency. Okay, it's called ELF, of course, some dumb name, but. These people are complaining about extremely low frequency. They're hearing noises. They're hearing voices talking to them. And we keep writing them off as if they're just some schizos and they're crazy. That guy that stabbed that girl on the bus, remember? That black guy that killed that blonde girl that everybody lost her. He was one of those guys.
Yeah, he had 14 prior convictions.
Yeah. It's every single time. We could sit there and keep writing these people off, but they keep saying the same.
Mental illness exists, and schizophrenia hits young men in their 20s. So schizophrenia is a disease that actually hits men primarily in their 20s. And hearing voices and all that stuff is a fact of one of the symptoms of that disease. And we know that people lose their minds. I have a friend who killed himself, and he lost his mind that way. He just lost his mind. I'd never seen anything like it. Now, he did it later on in life, but I'd never seen anything like it. I was like, I went to see him because he said, you have to come. I have an amazing job opportunity and everything else. I get there. And he's in this $4 million house in Georgia. And I was like, my friend's lost his mind. And I stayed there. I was supposed to stay there for the weekend, and I stayed there for a day, and I left because it was...
So he was completely normal?
I've never seen anything like
up
it.
until
The
this
paranoia
point.
was on another level. The paranoia
Was he
on
taking
another
drugs?
level. No, he had just lost, and it happened progressively.
Did he ever say anything to you that led you to think
He
that
just
this
was
would have been
he
the
was
cause?
convinced that people were trying to kill him, and family members and things like that. And then, he hung himself, which is a bummer. But I watched it and I saw it, and I would check up on him a lot because I was friends with him, and I would talk to him at least twice a week. And then he stopped answering, and I knew before I.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But look, people commit suicide, and people kill other people and commit suicide, and I don't think that's ever been different. I think it's more prevalent probably now. I think because of a host of things. I don't think there's one bad guy. I think that I think social media is really bad for us.
Are you religious?
I'll answer that in a different way. I'll answer that by finishing this point in a way. I'll say this. I think social media, I think pornography, I think gambling, I think drugs, I think whether they're pharmaceuticals or recreational, I think all of these things are a toxic, and I think our culture of nihilism, of godlessness, I think all of those things render a number of people hopeless, especially young men who've never heard an encouraging thing in their life, who've never been taught how to accomplish something. I think fatherlessness is a major epidemic in this country.
There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that. And I think those things, if you look at the literature behind it, I haven't, but I've heard other people say that they have, like people like Jordan Peterson. But if you look at the literature, apparently, your chances of suicide, antisocial behavior, all these things go way up. So it's a toxic cocktail, right? And so what happens? Well, we lose, first of all, we're not orientated around a singular point. What I mean by that is that the European mind and the American mind was really orientated around a notion of good and evil that was rooted in religion. It was rooted in the Christian faith. It really was. Our entire justice system is you're judged by a jury of your peers, 12 people. That's the apostles. It's all based on the New Testament.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the notion that you're innocent before proven guilty, the idea that everybody's equal under the law is the idea that we're all of the same moral worth under one Father. That's why we're brothers and sisters. That's what monotheism's contribution is, that if we have one Father, all of us are the same moral worth. You may be worth $1 billion, but if you kill me and I'm a wretch on the street, or I kill a billionaire, we do the same amount of time. Because it's not for you to judge. That's for God.
If only things worked that way.
But that's why judges say, may God have mercy on your soul. But you understand, you're still going to do time. You're still going to do time, If Phil Spector's got all that money and kills a woman he was paying for sex, he goes away forever.
Yeah.
And he should. And that all of us agree with that. Those are fundamental Christian tenets. And as I get older, I have to say that I never went to church. I never was religious. But as I get older, I see great value in the lessons, mainly of self-restriction, that religion preaches. Why is porn taboo in every culture in the world, especially every religion? Why is excessive drinking, drug use, altering your state?
Yeah.
Why is marriage something that's held essentially sacred? I can't think of any culture that's different. Even in cultures that practice polygamy, like the Arab world, say you can have 4 wives. You can do that as long as you treat all of them equally. Good luck with that shit. You understand? So a lot of this stuff is yeah. So as I get older, I get more conservative. But you're supposed to when you're older.
Yeah.
And that comes with its own liabilities. But I have great respect for the idea that you should be in total command of your appetites.
So
that would go back to the Greeks. That's not just religion. That's also Socrates and Plato and Aristotle.
So you still haven't been to church?
No, I go to Red Rocks.
Oh, I thought you said you haven't been to church.
No, I go every Sunday. My wife grew up in the church.
Oh, okay.
So she's
I love church, actually.
Yeah, I do too.
And I wouldn't call myself devout anything. I'm not a devout religion. I think everything could be all. It can all be real at the same time. I don't think I think it's just different parts of the world have different beliefs and different names for different people, but it's all pretty much talking about the same thing. And then it gets skewed.
Yeah, I would say there's a difference in Christianity.
It's however that Bible was rewritten, many times.
But there are some things that are so. I don't think Islam has something like love your enemies. I might be wrong, or turn the other cheek.
I don't know. I've never read that. The Quran.
Yeah, I'm just saying that that religions do have differences.
Yeah.
And there are probably some. There are fundamental differences, but I hear what you're saying.
Listen. I didn't
words,
grow up in a religious family.
Heaven, and you were a Muslim, and Jesus is there. My joke is he's going to be like, he grades on a curve. He's going to be like, I get it.
You're close enough. Come on.
You're close enough. They all pray to the same Abrahamic God. Then you have Buddhism and Shintoism.
What does it mean when like these tribes that live out on these islands and they have no. Oh, there you go. Turn the other cheek. Islam does not use the specific phrase, turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
It does have a doctrine of forgiveness and patience that is similar, though it also emphasizes seeking justice and defending oneself and others. Islamic teachings promote returning good for evil, especially in personal matters.
It's a little bit, that's Google, right? So they tend to be a little bit
biased.
They're very careful with how they say it. I can tell you that it's just not, there's a different idea there.
Well, I don't know. I just think, you have these Amazonian tribes that have never been contacted. They don't have Bibles. Anybody that tries to step foot, they fucking kill them right there on the spot.
Yeah.
And they don't have a God. If they do have a God, it's their own God. Are they going to go to hell just because they never heard about Jesus Christ? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't listen. I love religion. I love the values, like you were talking about, the commandments. I think those have been passed down for so many generations and millennia. For a reason, because time and time again, we see the same shit playing out over and over and over in society because it's inherently ingrained in our subconscious and how we reflect that out into our real world. I think people forget the fact that we're here for a finite amount of time and they let their inhibitions take over, and I do believe in good and evil. And I think every single person on this planet is born inherent, like knowing good and evil. You're born with it.
Yeah, there's a moral sense, right?
And whether it's your environment or your personal life choices that turn you a certain direction, I don't think it's the religion you choose. I was stationed in Afghanistan twice. I was in Iraq.
You met a lot of great Muslims.
I've been all over the world. I've been to Spain. I've been to South Africa. I've been all over the world. And there's good people and bad people in every religion.
Everywhere.
And just because somebody doesn't follow your religion doesn't mean they're going to hell. Just because you're following your religion doesn't mean you're going to heaven.
I agree with that.
So
I totally agree with that.
I think we need to get over this. For us to move on, for us to evolve into the next layer of evolution, we have to get over this. Like, our religion's better than yours. We have to fucking get rid of this shit.
Yeah, I think I would say we have to get rid of not so much that, but the idea that I'm going to take my ideas and impose them on you.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, can we just take the title away from it, the name of it away from it? Can we just focus on the values that each religion is trying to teach and pick and choose the ones we want from each and go,
good luck.
We're good, guys.
That's a universalist. Good luck. No, not how people are. Human nature is a bitch, Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Let's pivot. So, China. You know a lot about China?
I don't know. Depends on the question.
You've been all over the fucking world.
I have been to China twice.
You've lived in more places than
I've been to China twice. I was in Beijing, and then I was in 1984. I went to China when it was really communist.
How is it in China? 15, I've never been.
16, 17. I was 17. Yeah.
How is it? What's it like when you land there? Because I've never been, and I know a lot of the people listening have never been and never will go to China.
I didn't like Beijing, but not because of the Chinese. I just thought it was a very ugly city.
But what is it like? You fly in there. What is the culture like? The way they treat Americans?
China is, from my limited experience, but maybe my reading and my, China has suffered the brunt of a great deal of. They were under the subjugation of the British for a long time. They've been humiliated. They were invaded by the Japanese and paid a terrible price in Manchuria. They were, the communist revolution killed. Mao probably starved 40 million of them. maybe more. They were always under the control of an emperor, a dynasty. They suffered terribly under the Mongols. So China is very used to hardship. They built the Great Wall to keep the Mongols out. They're very used to, but there's a fundamental difference between the American mindset and the Chinese mindset. And one is that, you know, as an American, you're born to believe that you are the tree and that you can change the world and you're the center of the universe. Chinese people think very differently. They are the leaf on a large tree. And you have a duty and a relationship to your community, to your family, to your legacy, to your ancestors, to your country. So you measure things by how you relate to things. You ever see that when they have an American look at a fishbowl and a Chinese person look at a fishbowl?
No.
The American only looks at the fish. He doesn't notice anything else. A Chinese person will tell you about the coral and tell you about the relationship between everything in that bowl. You know, there's a fundamental difference even in the mythology behind the Confucius mindset, which is a mindset about harmony. And there's a cyclical nature to life and to the world. So when you are in the Judeo-Christian ethic as a Westerner, the idea there's something linear about time. There's an alpha and an omega. And you as an individual, whether you're Moses or Einstein or whoever it is, can actually change the world and change time. Fundamentally different. The Jewish mindset is I can be an innovator and I can invent something like, I don't know, relativity, Facebook, the MRI machine, whatever it might be, and change everything. And you're given that responsibility as a child. You as an individual matter more than even the community. This is American. This is Western. This is the Judeo-Christian ethic. Not so the Chinese, man. The Chinese have a very different idea about that.
They're a cog in a machine.
Well, you're just part life. History's circular. It's cyclical. It's a big circle.
I believe that too.
It's not a straight line.
Yeah.
So that would be the fundamental difference, you know. But also like the discipline and hard work, and they've been around a long time. China, remember, like with what is it, the Yellow River, the Yangtze, and what's the other river? I can't remember. They're two major rivers, but those rivers, what they did was they allowed for a great deal of exchange of ideas. That's why Mandarin is spoken in such a large area. It's the largest landmass where one language is continuously spoken. When that happens, you can, the Yellow River, so it's the Yellow River and the Yangtze. I always thought Yangtze was yellow in Chinese, but that's my bad. So it's the Yellow River and the Yangtze. Those rivers brought a great deal of people together. There was trade. There was a lot of communication with each other. So
I've never seen this.
Yeah, so there was a great deal the history of China, the concept of Wu Wei. You know, a lot of the East, whether it's Japan or wherever, took a lot of their philosophy and their storytelling and things from China. China was around a long time, but you know they have major problems. But
yeah, well, speaking of major problems, what was I just reading here? I wrote it down. China just introduced a new law requiring influencers to hold university degrees in order to discuss professional topics such as medicine, finance, education, and health. And if you break this law, fines are up to 14,000 US.
Yeah, they can. So China has that top-down, authoritarian thing.
Yeah.
So things move very quickly. They can just pass a law. A Politburo essentially can say, hey, no more open air fryers. We got to change the air in this fucking
That's
city.
scary as
and
fuck,
they
by
do
the
that.
way,
And then they go, we're not going to have any of this bullshit on our things because kids are seeing it. No porn, none of that bullshit. We're going to have this. And, there are a lot of people that like that because that's order.
Of course, yeah.
And that does create a harmony. And if you walk the streets of China, you don't worry about getting robbed, mugged, or anything else.
Right.
There's a lot of cool stuff that comes with order. The larger question is, does that foster creativity? Are they as innovative as Americans? And my guess is probably not. They're pretty good, but they're not. They're not the innovative giant that the United States is. And part of that is probably because you have to have some chaos as well.
Is that your feelings on that?
I think individual liberty has to take precedence over the collective.
Yeah.
And the fundamental difference, again, with the Chinese would be that you are more responsible. It's about the collective.
Yeah.
The individual is secondary. Not with America. I believe that, the greatest thing about our grand experiment is that the individual is always protected from majority or mob rule.
Interesting.
And I don't have to be part of the collective. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is left very general for a reason. It's not about happiness, but pursuit. Whatever you choose to pursue, if that makes you happy, go with God.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to keep throwing you deeper down this rabbit hole now that I got you in the zone. What are your thoughts on the existence of life itself? We're going to go from talking about
I mean, I have
the
no
world
idea, but
to the universe.
Yeah, I love the idea that, like Eric Weinstein's idea and these guys who think that maybe this is a simulation. That maybe, that doesn't mean that Darwin's theory of evolution doesn't exist, but it exists within a simulation. There's a larger umbrella. The theory of everything might be that we're already self-replicating machines, making better machines.
I kind of like that theory.
Yeah, I mean,
and the only reason I do is because we're seeing it right in front of our eyes. I have a 13 and a 16-year-old sitting at the house right now, and they both play Fortnite and Roblox. And what is Roblox? You're creating your own universe with own characters.
Isn't that crazy?
Fortnite, Fortnite's a little different.
I don't think any of this is random. I don't think any of this is an accident. As I get older, I get more religious.
Yeah. Even Joe, he kind of says it best, like that whole scene where when Trump got shot in the ear and he falls down and he gets up and he's like, fight, fight, fight. Joe was like, in that moment, I was like, this is all fucking fake.
Yeah.
this has got to be all fucking fake.
My buddy Vinny said, we were there, and he goes, Trump's going to win. And I was like, he is? And he goes, God turned his head, dude, for a reason. He didn't turn his head now from not to win. What are you talking about? And I was like, I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, be careful with that stuff, but it was just interesting. I was like, all right.
But what do you think is, so even if that is the case and,
there's a plan.
What is the purpose of life itself? Like this is, I find myself pondering this all the time.
I think to get closer to the truth. And I think there is a truth. And I think there's a lie. Just like I think there's good and there's evil. And I think they're both tied at the hip. But I think that there's something called truth.
But why?
And all of us are trying to get closer to it.
So you believe in God. So God created the cosmos.
I believe in truth.
You believe in truth. Okay. Well, something had to create this. Things don't just appear out of thin air, right? Or do they?
I think the purpose of life for the individual is to realize your potential. Is to.
But you're talking about down to the individual level. I'm talking about the million like feet view of what is going on. Why is this universe here? Why is there life here? Why is it not everywhere?
I think it's for us to wake up. I think it's for us to achieve consciousness. I think it's for us to achieve collective consciousness. Because I was going to say that part of life is to realize your potential, but that's not the whole subject. Because you can't dedicate yourself to self-perfection. Don't do it. There's more to self-perfection. You'll get everything you want to the nth degree, get to the top of that wall, and you'll kill yourself. Just ask Will Smith how he feels that he got everything he ever wanted, and now what? That's a major crisis.
Yeah,
you have to have an impact on the world too. You have to be there. The worship without sacrifice is a sin. There's a reason that you need sacrifice. There's a reason that sacrifice is a central tenet of worship. If you don't have sacrifice, if you're not willing to give something that really matters to you, then you're not doing anything.
How so?
That's the difference between spirituality and religious. I'm spiritual. Spiritual's free. What you're really saying is that there's a benevolent life force that's watching over me, and I'm a good person.
So to be religious, you have to sacrifice.
I think that's synonymous with being religious. It's why in the church they want you to tithe. It's why you practice self-restriction. It's why you stay married. It's why you never leave your kids. It's why you give more than you receive. It's why you stay humble and prudent. It's why you practice self-restriction. It's why you're not supposed to jerk off to porn. It's not why you don't hang out with a bunch of hookers and an 8-ball. It sucks. It all sucks, but it's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Okay? That's religious. That's when you follow the tenets of that religion. Whether it's Buddhism, where you don't fuck with any sentient being. I'm sure they'd love to eat a ribeye, but they don't. Well, what's going on there?
Buddhists
why take an oath of celibacy and why wear a saffron robe? It's a form of sacrifice. Why? Because it leads to a bigger understanding. Why? Because you're supposed to overcome these sensations.
Yeah.
Life is a sensation that we chase all the time, whether it's booze, sex, food, status,
Jesus,
power.
man.
Yeah, I know these are all sensations.
Settle down.
Power. They're all sensations.
Bryan.
Learning, all that stuff. But you're supposed to overcome those. You're supposed to.
I like
realize
that though. I do the same thing.
That is the central tenet of religion. So the purpose of life probably is to do something like overcome the beast, overcome the appetites, allow for the spirit to win the everlasting war with the flesh. That is the symbol of Christ. It is accomplished, is what he said at the end, right? What do you think he meant? Well, I won. I got it. I did this. Hard to do. He didn't renounce God. Right on the cross, he says, "Why have you forsaken me?" He said that's like, dude, I'm about to give up here. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why'd you do this to me?
Yeah.
Then he finally says, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do."
Yeah.
It is accomplished. Right? So that's a pretty profound idea. The idea is that, look, life is going to kick in the nuts, and you might do everything right and still pay a price for it. You will. Turning the other cheek is a great way to have everything taken from you, including your wife and children, and sold into slavery or killed in front of you, and then you're humiliated. And it's worth it. It's like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, give up your life.
That's why we revere people like Gandhi and Martin Luther King, and that's why they are essentially saints. But Jeff Bezos isn't, even though he's a winner at the game of capitalism.
Wow, that's a fucking badass statement.
Right?
Wow.
Why don't we put him on? Why isn't Jeff Bezos somebody I worship? But Gandhi took down the British Empire with passive resistance. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Non-violence. And we just go, dude, that's a bad motherfucker, right? The samurai says, I'll cut you into 100 pieces. The Buddhist says, and I can be cut into 100 pieces without batting an eye.
Jesus. Bryan's spitting fucking game right now.
Come on, baby. I've been alive a long
Let's
time.
go. Have you ever read of any of Michio Kaku's books?
No.
Michio Kaku.
The string theorist?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. The Asian guy, he's got the...
Life is too short to read about string theory.
No, he actually breaks it down. He breaks it down to where it's understandable for us regular idiots.
Yeah.
Right? But so he does a lot of seminars around the world, in China and everywhere. Right? So he does seminars, and then he opens it up for Q&A at the end of the seminar, and they pass around a microphone around the audience. And so in one of his books, he's talking about one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, what is the purpose of life? Like, we have this huge fucking universe that's unfathomably big and so much stuff in it, but there's only life that we know of on this planet. Why is there life here and nowhere else? And what does he think? What's the purpose of life itself? And he says, he goes, I personally think, I look at everything from a scientific view, but this is the one question that I get asked a lot where I apply some of my own personal, what I feel from the heart, because there's no scientific answer to it.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. So we don't have an answer for it yet. He goes, me personally, I think that, I feel like if you were the universe or God or whatever you believe in, and you created this enormous fucking gorgeous fucking universe with black holes and supernovas and galaxies and universes, like just trillions of stars and planets and moons, and imagine this gorgeous fucking landscape. Imagine you created a video game that had all of this in there. Just a video game itself, coding it and fucking building this fucking massive like map landscape, okay? But what if you built this entire thing and there's nothing to appreciate what you did? What's the point? So he goes, I think that the universe or God or whatever you believe in created this. He created humans as something to appreciate what he had created. Something made in his image that can look out in awe at everything. And that stuck with me. That was like 20 years ago I read that.
It's great that you're reading that stuff.
Yeah.
It's really worth thinking about.
It is. It's like, I love pondering about the universe. Like, to me, when I was really little, I would sit there and I had those laser pointers. I used to fuck with the cat all the time. But when it was late at night and I couldn't fall asleep because I just was full of fucking energy, I would go outside and I would just point that up at the sky or the stars. We lived way out in the country, so we had like the full blanket of stars. And I would point that laser and, it just keeps going and going and going. And I imagine, like, what would happen if that laser just, like, even if it hit a planet or a sun or whatever, and it just pierced through and it just kept going and going and going, it would never end. Even if it hit a wall, there's something always beyond that wall. There's no end to it.
What made you become a Navy SEAL? Because you think that's a different way of thinking, probably.
I just always wanted to do the hardest thing possible.
You did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And so what was your sport in high school?
Football, baseball, and track.
You had some speed?
I was fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of fast twitch muscle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got hit in the head a lot, so
yeah. And then
it's probably why.
He said, I'm going to see if I can do this. Was Buds a nightmare for you, or did you?
No, it was actually pretty chilled. Like,
really?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of problems with Buds.
You didn't have problems with the cold or?
No,
sleep?
Hell Week. So in Hell Week, they make you stay awake for like 5.5 days.
Fuck.
Okay, so 5.5 days, you get a 45 minutes total of naps. The first one is 15 minutes, and the second one is 30 minutes. And that's all you get for
5 days?
in 5.5 days.
I'm fucking young. Oh my God. How old were you?
So, but for me, like when I grew up as a little kid, like I could stay awake for 3 days in a row without sleeping.
Fuck.
Because I just had so much energy. Like,
amazing.
Especially if there was something like if I had school the next day, the first day of school, I could never sleep the day before school. So I would stay awake all night and I'd like fold all my clothes, like,
You
get
had
everything.
no problem doing that.
No, never. I never had it.
So Hell Week was not that hard for you?
No, it wasn't that bad at all. It wasn't about like the being tired part that got
So
me.
you never thought about ringing the bell?
No. Well, no, there was one time on the third day where I thought about ringing the bell, or the second day, the end of the second day. They took us, because it's all psychological games, right? And one of the things that they would do is they would strategically plan when you would take a break to eat and drink, right? You would get little breaks during Hell Week where you could sit down and eat your fucking MRE and whatever. And one of the times they took us right in front of the barracks where the quitters had quit. So all the guys that rang the bell and quit, you could see the lights on in their rooms.
Fuck.
And so they did that on purpose. They fucking parked us right there in front of like we're on the beach, and right behind us is the barracks where the quitters are, and you can see all the lights. You could feel the warmth like radiating off the windows, and it's cold as fuck.
Cold as
You're
fuck.
freezing, you're wet, you're sandy, you're miserable, you're starving, you're tired, you're whatever. And I remember in that one moment, I'm just like, looking at that, and I'm looking at the dark ocean in front of me and the waves crashing.
Ugh.
Just the noise of these like
Fuck you. You start shivering just thinking about
these
it.
like 5 to 6 foot gigantic waves just in San Diego. And if you've never been in the ocean on the West Coast, which a lot of the viewers never have.
It's fucking cold.
It could be the hottest day of the year.
The water is so cold.
And it's
the Pacific.
fucking freezing.
Yes.
It's fed by like the glaciers,
Yes,
like straight up.
So cold.
And so imagine you're soaking wet, and you're cold, you're sandy. They would keep sand in every orifice and every groove of your body, and this is what's going on. And it's not just Hell Week; it goes on for the entirety of Buds and then SQT and training. So you're constantly miserable. And then so during Hell Week, that one moment they sat us in front of there. I remember just looking up at that, and I was like, "Fuck, man." I'm like, do I really need this? I mean, I feel like I've already proven myself if I made it hit this far. I'm like, I don't think I need this. And I was like getting close to like walking off, and not out of a shame or not that I couldn't do anything. I was just like, I don't need this. And my buddy Albie Bartolomeo, and he went to the East Coast and I stayed on the West Coast, so we kind of never saw each other again. But he was in my boat crew during Hell Week and Buds. He goes, dude, if you quit, then I'm quitting. Like, do not quit. And I remember him telling me that, and I was like, well, I guess I'm not quitting then. And that was if he couldn't have, it's almost like somebody told him, this is what you need to tell him that'll get him to change his mind.
That's right.
Because he made it not about myself, but about him.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I quit, I would be convincing my boatmates to fucking quit. And so once he said that, I was like, fuck. All right, Albie. All right.
Yeah.
I'm in it with you, buddy. And then so I stuck around, and then for the rest of Hell Week, I started having a blast. Like
really?
I told him the next morning when the sun came up, I'm like, dude, thank you so much. Like, I'm having a blast right now. Like, that was fucking awesome.
And you were just having fun?
Yeah, I had fun with it.
What about
it sucks, but once you embrace it.
Well, weren't you freezing?
Yeah, you're freezing, you're cold, you're shivering
like,
the whole time.
Freezing.
But eventually you're like, fuck it, dude. You just let go of it anything. All these like I'm cold, I'm miserable, and eventually you realize it's not going away. So you can either be a bitch about it or you can embrace it and just fucking enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then like that's when I finally found like that inner fucking like warrior, you know, where it's like even to this day I'm like I don't want to be cold. I don't want to be wet.
No.
Like I'm tired of it. No. But if
Jocko Willick was saying that to me. He said his son is a Navy SEAL. And he was like watching his son go through shit, and he goes, "Damn, I forgot. This sucks, man."
Yeah, no, it sucks. But I guarantee you take Jocko and you put him in a position where this is like there's no alternative and there's he's gonna find a way to enjoy it and he's gonna flip that switch in his brain and go, "I'm fucking loving this."
Yeah.
Like quit being a bitch. Let's go. You know, and it's like that's the mentality.
Of course.
That's the mentality that
very few people have.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But
did you grow up on a farm?
No, I lived on a ranch for like
was your dad a hard ass?
Almost 4 years. I didn't grow up with the dad. I grew up with the mom, and I had 2 brothers. So the single mom that was born and raised in Spain, and she moved to the States.
You speak Spanish?
No, she didn't teach us back then. They didn't. Like, it was taboo to teach your kids Spanish back then because Spanish speakers didn't. You know.
Yeah.
Not like today, where you know it's like beneficial to be bilingual. Back then, if you spoke Spanish, you were considered like subculture.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So she didn't teach us Spanish, but she was a very hard worker. She was never home. She was working 2 jobs, and she would go to school full time.
Yourself?
Yeah, me and my brothers raised ourselves.
Where's your dad?
My dad's from Wisconsin. Yeah.
You never saw him?
I was a spring break mistake in 1983 at Padre Island.
There it is. He missed out on you though.
Well, I actually went to go live with him. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. I didn't know. My mom never told me who he was. She never told me who my real dad was. She didn't even tell me his name. She told me that my older brother's dad was my dad, and his name is on my birth certificate. I was actually born Shawn Williams, not Shawn Johnson.
So your dad. So you went and lived with him. How old were you?
So well, let me explain this real quick. So spring break mistake, 1983, Padre Island. My mom knew by the end of that week, spring break week, he was there, that she was pregnant. I don't know how the fuck she knew, but she knew. And she told him, she goes, "I think I might be pregnant." And he goes, "Okay, don't worry about it. Here's my phone number. Call me. And so he like blasted back off. Well, he had a whole nother life, and I won't get into the details, but I'll leave it at that. Sure. Okay. And so
it's spring break.
Yeah. So
it's spring break in fucking whatever that island is.
So my mom, she said, after that's me, sorry. So years later, and when I finally convinced her, I'm like 16 going on 17, I finally convinced her to tell me the truth. But she goes, "I tried to call him twice. The first time, somebody answered and hung up immediately. The second time, a little kid picked up, gave it to a woman, and then they hung up. And then the third time, I tried one last time, like a year later, and she goes, the number was disconnected." Yeah. And so she goes, so I didn't. She goes, "But he wasn't there to sign your birth certificate, and a father needed to sign the birth certificate, and he wasn't there." So she made a deal with my older brother saying that if he agreed to put his name on my birth certificate and sign my birth certificate as my father, that she would not make him pay child support for my older brother. And he agreed to it. And so I grew up with Shawn Williams.
Damn, your mom's a badass.
Dude, she's cool as
Gangster.
shit. She's cool as shit.
And so what does your dad do? Your
so
real dad?
He was in the education system his whole career. He was like I think he started as like a assistant principal. He had a degree.
Was he surprised that you were a SEAL? Do you still talk to him?
No, we don't have zero relationship.
Really?
At all. Like we don't agree at all. He's very woke.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah. And so I won't get into all the details of that. But
Huh.
But anyway, so we go up there. I wanted to get to know him. And more so, I wanted to get to know that side of my family. Like, it's who you are.
Sure.
You finally figure out who you are. And you're like, okay, let me go figure it out. And so I move up there my senior year of high school. And then I end up getting accepted into college up there. And I did 4 years at the University of Wisconsin in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And it's just different, man. It's just different. It's a different world, and I missed my family back in Texas, and I don't remember where I was going with this, but
I asked you about your dad, and I asked you about
Yeah, so that's my dad. but I never really had a relationship with them, and we're two completely different people.
We went off on a total tangent because we were talking about the existence of the universe. Then
right, yeah, we definitely spun off
about that. But it was just you. But I think my experience with SEALs and they're asymmetrical thinkers a lot of times.
Yeah. So I definitely didn't get it from him, but I think I got it from my mom because she's a badass.
Or your own person,
Mm-hmm. Or that.
You have your own, stamp.
It is interesting. Do you have any kids?
4.
You have 4 kids?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. How old's your oldest?
17-year-old daughter, 14-year-old son, 3.5-year-old son, and a 1.5-year-old son.
Wow. You got the little ones and the older ones. Great. I'm about to do the same thing. I fucking love it. I have a 13 and a 16-year-old, and I just got engaged again for my soon-to-be second marriage. And we're about to start over again.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like following in your footsteps.
And you won't regret it. And your older your children will love they'll love their half-brothers or sisters. They'll love them.
Yeah.
Like my 14-year-old and my 3.5-year-old are inseparable.
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful to watch. Like, I just can't take it.
That's cool. So were you married prior?
I was for 12 years.
And then it's just second marriage you're on now?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm literally following your footsteps. We're like pretty much the same thing.
Damn right, bro. Come on.
But yeah, man, I think this is a good spot to wrap it up.
Thank you. I had a great time.
Yeah. I mean,
it's good to get to know you too. I mean, I've known you, but it's good to, you and Phil and all the guys.
Well, there's no better way to like really get to know somebody than to sit down and
I agree.
I agree. I was talking to Jeff about this earlier, to Jeff from the studio.
Yeah.
And
love Jeff.
Because he's talking about when he wants to start his own podcast and YouTube channel, and I'm trying to talk him. I'm like, dude, I know so many people, and I thought I knew them well, but it's all surface level.
Yeah.
Even if you see them every day, it's surface level conversations.
You take 2 hours to talk to somebody, hear the stories, and just, it's great. It really is a great way to do it. It's a treat. It's how you build a community too,
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Now we're going to be best friends, dude.
I hope so.
We're going to get a timeshare together. Where the fuck is my camera?
And I'm going to abuse my fucking time.
That's right. Oh, I'll be abusing my time.
But dude, hey, look, man, I appreciate you coming.
Thanks,
I appreciate you giving me an opportunity at such a young stage of this podcast.
I'm at your service, brother. It's always a pleasure.
I hope you come on all the time. Anytime. I fucking love this.
Anytime, brother. Anytime.
And this is Duncan's spot, so maybe we can get you, me, and Duncan, and then we'll throw in another one.
Well, Duncan's into the Vedanta, so I like talking about that stuff. He's into.
Yeah, but the floor is yours. What do you want to tell people?
Just watch False Gods, my new special, which is on YouTube, and BryanCallen.com for all my tour dates. I'll be in Westminster, BC, and Plano, Texas in November.
Plano, Texas. Real quick, you had this badass post about Ronda Rousey, and I wanted to let you go off real quick. So let's end it with your feelings on Ronda Rousey, because when you said that, it hit me. I was like, oh, thank God, finally somebody fucking said it.
I love her, but
What's the backstory?
The backstory is more. I knew Ronda. I spent time with Ronda. And,
she's amazing.
And she's a great human being. But it was more that, like, I just think we talk about feminism and we talk about women write books on feminism and they make posts on TikTok. You haven't done a fucking thing to change hearts and minds. Ronda Rousey moved the notion of what a woman was capable of. And for that matter, so did all those MMA fighters like Rose Namajunas, and who's beautiful, feminine like Ronda,
Doug Rose,
but also a killer, and people like Amanda Nunes. If you want to talk about the UFC and being woke, that like she's a gay woman and her wife is there cheering her on. Nobody talks about these things, So it was a place where women came along and showed men that they can fight with the same ferocity and desire
and steal the light
and steal the light, bro, which none of us thought was possible.
Nobody.
So but feminists never talk about people like that. When Ronda Rousey said, "My body's not built to fuck millionaires, it's built to kick ass." Or
That's
something like that.
Gangster
We all just went. We were like, she's such a badass. She said something about I don't fight fights. I solve fights or something like that. Or whatever. She was that first person that all of us who weren't even fight fans, like my wife. I'm a fight fan. My wife was like, dude, she's such a badass.
Dude, her intensity. Do you remember her walkouts?
We had dinner, my wife and myself and Rhonda, and at the time Brennan Schaub and because they had dated and you know, my wife was like, she's just such a charismatic human being.
Do you think you could help me get her on the podcast? I'd love to fucking.
I don't know. I love her. She kind of answered that thing, and she's like, "Oh, bro, you can take me to the, you know."
She did.
Yeah. She responded.
Wow.
She's so great. I gotta actually DM her because I miss her, and she's
Bring
great.
her down.
Yeah, I would.
Let's do me, you, her, and Duncan.
She's an amazing human. No, she needs her own time. You know, you don't want to. Yeah, I don't want anybody else around. It's got to be Rhonda. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah. I agree.
I mean? Yeah.
Dude, her walkouts when she would come out. That was the thing that stuck with me.
Bad reputation. Yeah, little badass, and adorable, and
like,
fucking
God
sexy,
damn.
so cute.
Yeah, she was like jacked, but she was like
but she
cute,
was also
you know?
150 pounds, you know, at the most when she was off season, and just
that
it
was as big as she got.
Yeah,
she
she's
looked
still a
massive.
woman. She fought at 135. She's adorable. When she would like be all skinny and stuff, she's girly.
Yeah,
she's a killer, but she's girly. You know, she's feminine as it gets, but a fucking killer. And nobody wins like that.
She would
just
wrap
a
people up
bad
real quick too.
Oh.
Just, yeah.
When Rogan said it's an honor to call your fights, it's the first time I think he had ever said that.
Really?
Yes, and he almost started crying.
He should have.
Like he was just like she was bigger than life.
But what
that's
is it?
Glorious.
What does it say about the world that somebody that amazing did so much, and all it took was a few females in the UFC talking shit about her?
Oh, it's all
that
good.
completely changed the narrative.
That's when you know you're doing something right.
Yeah.
You know, when the greatness will always come with its haters.
Yeah.
You know, if
Sure
you're great,
does.
you better be careful. People want to tear you down.
Yeah, we see it all too often. But
Yeah.
anyways, thank you, brother. Appreciate you so much for coming.
brother. This is great.
Let's
I
do this
appreciate
again
this.
soon. Josh, thank you so much.
It's so funny when I said yes to Shawn. I was like, I forgot we were going to do this, and I, was like, I always honor my gun. I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this. I
Well,
didn't know
hopefully it turned
I
out
didn't know
okay.
who Shawn Johnson was. I had no idea. I was like, maybe a comic. I can't remember.
I've
then I
known-
see you, and I thought I ran into you by accident. Met me on the street.
Caveat.
And I'm like, oh fuck, that's Shawn.
Caveat, I've known Bryan for like a few years now, and he didn't even remember who I was. So.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Anyways, I love you, buddy. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate you guys.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?